Here we go now, monkey.
Yeah, that's you. You're the monkey dog, and you're ready to go, aren't you? Look at you, little bonkers. You little bonkers dog.
Yeah? Okay. Do it. Come on, live stream. Bam, bam, bam. Bam, bam. Well, I'll wait for that. Might as well slide that over there. Go there. Come on. Click that. Hey, it started. Now, there we go. All right. Hello, everyone. Well, welcome. It's Houston. We have a problem. Wednesday. It's a normal Wednesday show, I guess. The big news of the day is that Tenet Media, who hosts and produce such luminaries as Tim Pool, Benny Johnson, Dave Rubin, Lauren Southern, got indicted for accepting illegal Russian money to promote Russian propaganda on their outlets. It's just, you know, when like you come across people and like, that guy's a major asshole. Hey everyone, look at this asshole over here. And a lot of people are like, I don't think they're an asshole. And then it turns out that they're a major asshole. That is everyone at Tenet Media. The indictment is pretty damning. In it, they don't list the names. They list, you know, co-conspirator 1, company 2, things like that. But throughout the indictment where they redact the names, you can go back in time and look at the shows which they're referring to and the moments in time that they're referring to. And it turns out that these individuals who all claim, you know, all these personalities claim that they're unwitting victims in all of this. But in the indictments, it shows them making conscious editorial decisions based upon the money they're receiving from the Russians as to how to edit their shows and insert certain segments into their show that were pro-Russia and anti-Ukraine. And it's pretty delicious. I'm going to go into more detail on it, I think, Sunday. I'm going to try and premiere Houston Wade's Raging Election on Sunday. And I'm going to do a bit more deep dive. I'm going to show you guys some of the specific tweets, messages, things like that. It's going to be much more of a tied together thing and a little bit less of the hodgepodge randomness that is the Houston With Problem show. But it's juicy. I have a feeling that there's more coming. That this goes deeper. I have a feeling Elon Musk is involved. I think because Elon Musk was purposely promoting Tenet Media's shows and personalities again and again and again and again, over and over and over and over and over. It's gonna be. I think it's gonna get spicy, right? Fat cat ate a whole bunch of catnip. He's now out of his mind on the floor here. So yeah, that's where we're going there. Business wise, I mean, more commercial buildings keep getting vaporized. GME's kind of going sideways. Warren Buffett's still selling off Bank of America. Same old at the moment. You know, we're in a holding pattern. So it's still light outside, so I can do one of these.
Houston, we have a problem.
Okay. There we go. Turn that off, ding dong. That's off. The nighttime one's off. No kittens to distract me right now. We're good. All right. So, with that, with Russian spies in the news again, what's on your minds, folks? What's happening? What's good? Citizen Force says, whoa. Jason Blackwell, hey Houston, because of gambling, I no longer see my wife and kids. I won the lottery and got the hell out of there. Oh my gosh. I wish I could laugh and make my shoulder feel better. Brendan Wells is here. Peachy Sunday is in here. Oh yeah, shooting in Georgia. Yeah. Appalachia High School shooting. I mean, school year just started, so I guess we're going to start this whole cycle again. Yeah, school shootings. I know what the solution is. I know what the solution is for school shootings. I just don't think America is ever going to do anything about it. We love our guns more than we love our kids, and it's that simple. We don't need to ban all guns, but we do need to register all of them and license all of them and insure all of them. The argument is that the people are, the militia, right? That's the argument under the Second Amendment. Okay, get down, do 40 push-ups, right? Run a mile and a half in under 16 minutes. Be able to do 10 pull-ups. Like, the Militia Act clearly states that people between, 18 and 47 make up the militia. So people who are under that age do not. And people over that age do not. So that means if you're under that age or over that age, perhaps you don't get to own firearms, right? If you can't maintain your weapons, lock your weapons, own them safely, and keep them out of the hands of children and criminals, then perhaps you should get reprimanded as being a member of the militia. If you're in the Army, the National Guard, the Marines, whatever, and your service weapon disappears, you're going to get court-martialed, right? But American citizens have 600,000 guns a year stolen from them that then become the property of criminals, right? It's we should have, you should have to take a class on each specific weapon you want to own, learn how to use it and whatever, use it properly. You get licensed for that weapon, you buy insurance for that weapon in case anything bad happens, and you have to have safe storage for it. If you don't have those things, then you are an irresponsible gun owner, and kids are going to get their hands on it and blow away their classmates. It's insane. So, we don't have to say like ban all guns. We just do it like other nations that don't have school shootings but still have weapons in the home. Switzerland doesn't have school shootings; they got weapons in the home. Israel doesn't have school shootings; they have weapons in the home. Canada doesn't have school shootings; they've got weapons in the home, right? So we can at least take a page out of those books, and maybe start treating gun ownership as if you are a member of the militia. Maybe have to muster every weekend a month or something. Why not? I don't see a problem with that. But yeah, I lost 2 people in mass shootings. I lost a neighbor at the Vegas shooting, which was the largest mass shooting in American history. She's just enjoying a concert. She had a little long weekend. Flew to Vegas with a friend and coworker and got blown away by a stranger from a hotel room. Right? My little sister's best friend, Scott Beagle, was murdered at Parkland. He died shielding his students in the doorway and got hit like 14 times with an AR-15 that had a swastika carved into the handle of it. It's the impact this crap has on people is so far-reaching. I have little doubt that my little sister is ruined emotionally from that event, from losing a friend. That was a guy. She ran a summer camp with him for like 12 years. They were best friends. They lived together in the off season. She lived in Palm Beach with him and his then fiance. Like, she hopped on a plane to go visit friends in Australia, said goodbye to him, hopped on a plane, flew to Australia. When she landed, his face was all over the news at the airport as being murdered in that shooting. And there she was in Australia with no support network, no one to hug. She just burst into tears in the middle of the airport, and no one knew who this chick was or why she was there. And, her friend's gone forever. All because, some crazy person. I mean, literally, this dude, that kid was cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, Hitler lover, and he just carved a swastika into his gun, decided to go blow away a bunch of 14-year-olds. And for some reason in this country, like, man, we're okay with that. That's just the price you pay for getting to own guns, man. Stupid. It's so dumb. Like, have some self-respect. Like, guns aren't fucking toys. They're machines of war. They're death machines. That's their entire purpose. They aren't there to be like, oh, fun, woo. They're there to kill something at the other end of it. And they're designed to do it as efficiently as possible under all sorts of different conditions. And so if we allow everyone to have free and unfettered access to them, you're going to get shootings like this over and over and over and over. And, you know, I think everyone was right. The Sandy Hook was the litmus test to show that we actually don't care about people. A whole bunch of 5-year-olds get blown away, and the response of half the country was, "The crisis actors is fake," because they don't admit to themselves that we live in a society where, you know, we make it easy for weirdos to blow away a bunch of 5-year-olds. You know, Uvalde, same thing. You know, people say, "Oh, we need to have more armed security on campus." Well, the sheriff's deputies who were on campus at Parkland didn't do anything. They ran and hid. You know, the cops were on campus in Uvalde, dozens of them, and they sat there scared. Oh, well, if we break in there and he does more damage, while they listen to him blow away children one by one. We need a better system, and because the one we have ain't working. And so let's do something different for once, rather than just doing thoughts and prayers. I guess this is the way life is. Maybe I don't know, be proactive and actually support the legislation that the majority of Americans would support, which is things like registration and licensing and insurance and stuff like that. I personally, I'd say register every gun, get a license for it, like literally like a title for your gun. And if your gun ends up in somebody else's hands without going through some sort of registration process with the state, then your gun is stolen. And then if your gun is stolen, then perhaps you didn't do a good enough job maintaining your weapon, and you shouldn't be allowed to own them, right? It's, we got these parents, their kids, fucking weirdo. Absolute, like, they give everybody the creeps and the heebie-jeebies, and dad's like, "I'm gonna buy you a handgun, son." And they buy him a handgun, and they go through a rural Illinois blowing people away at a parade. It's like, I don't know. Parents are terrible. Our laws are terrible. And we have a terrible society that makes terrible people do terrible things. And we got to fix something in there in the process, man. It's just stupid. It's just stupid that in our country we have mass shooter drills in our schools. It's the most dystopian, messed up. Like, I had to go through them when I was at the Art Institute. Every year we had a seminar we had to go through about potential mass shooter. What would we do? How to identify students who might, come back to campus and hurt people. It was like, it's like, make sure you wear a belt to school, because that way you can take the belt off and you can wrap it around the hydraulic door closer, and then they can't get in. And it's like, why is us learning these tactics a better solution than ensuring people don't have the access to the guns to start shooting school children? It's just, I don't think it's ever going to change, personally. We can talk about it till we're blue in the face, but we're not going to do anything different. We just resigned ourselves to the fact that, we're going to have 500 school shootings a year. We're going to lose hundreds of kids. And that's just the way it is, because that's the bed we made, and we just got to live with it. We just got to live with, like, watching friends and family get killed every once in a while by some weirdo with no defined purpose in their life except to shoot people. It's just dumb. Just so dumb. Anyway. Okay. Turkish wanting to wait 40 minutes till PP show's done. I got PP show. Oh yeah, I forgot PP show's on Wednesdays this time. Hopefully you're all coming in here from there. And then like half of you are like, "You're talking guns," and just left, so. Okay. MS is here. Drinkman142 was the first to say first. This is true. You did beat Citizen 54 to that. Justin G told my wife about your Lindsey Graham impersonation. Can get a little bit of that. Get a little bit of Miss Lindsay. Oh, heavens to Bitsy. He's just such a fine man. Yeah. Lindsey Graham. I saw a thing today and it was like, what was it? It was if JD Vance was a sandwich, what would come on it? And the response was Lindsey Graham twice. Charles Bronson, Houston. What are your thoughts on the city of Bellevue? Watched a 4K walk on YouTube. Most cleanest city I've seen. No trash or anything on the ground. Bellevue. I mean, Bellevue, yeah, it's got some issues here and there. It is a very, 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 very wealthy city. You know, like average homes, well over $1 million. Schools are great. Tons of foreigners. The city is full of H-1B visa folks because they all work at like Nintendo and Amazon and Microsoft and Bungie, and because all tech stuff is over there by Redmond and Bellevue. So you're gonna get some decent Indian food, that's for sure. It doesn't have much of a personality. It's rich, but there's not much tradition or culture or anything. It's like very sterile. That's how I'd put it. It's rich and sterile with no zazz. Nothing interesting happens in Bellevue except for rich people go do rich people things. The Kemper family, who owned Bellevue Square Mall, which was, I think, the first mall ever built, they control a lot of things that happen in Bellevue, and they are grade A assholes. So the Kemper family, they wanted to build a mall. Even in the 1930s, like, we want this land, we want to build a mall. The problem was the land was owned by a bunch of Japanese strawberry farmers. And so they kept trying to figure out ways to like kick the strawberry farmers off the land and build this thing. And it wasn't until World War II happened and the Kemper family lobbied the government to get the Japanese interned. And once the Japanese interned, they stole their land and started building a mall. This is during World War II, right? Like 1941, 1942, 1943, 1944, when the entire country is devoted to, building bombers and ships and tanks and munitions, and our young men are going off to go fight and die and get injured, and we are sacrificing everything we possibly can. The Kemper family is building a fucking mall, right? They're building a mall. Well, everyone else in the world is worried about rationing and the scourge from Hitler and Japan and everything else, and the Kemper family builds a mall. So that's their legacy. They stole a bunch of land from some Japanese farmers, and then they built a mall during World War II. So Bellevue Square Mall comes open. It's like the first indoor mall of its kind. Everyone's amazed by it. Oh, wow, roo-ah. Flash forward to the future. The Kempers are still assholes. They still own the whole thing. And Seattle area finally approves light rail, subways, light rail systems. It's something we've needed for 50 years, 60 years, 70 years, ever since Firestone and GM shut down all the streetcars and stuff. So the rail line originally goes north-south through downtown, and it's started to branch out further, goes to the airport now, a bit further north. And now there's going to be one that goes to the Bellevue Square Mall. And the Kemper family were outraged. You can't have a rail line come to our mall. And the reasoning was it would bring poor people to Bellevue. So that's the Kemper family. That's who kind of controls Bellevue. So, yeah. Antonio Baez Northgate was first mall in North America. But I think Northgate started as an outdoor mall and not an indoor mall. If I remember correctly. Let's look that up. Northgate, which no longer exists. They tore that thing down not too long ago. Northgate Station, Northgate Mall. Open 1950. So open 1950. Bellevue Square Mall. 1946. August 20th, 1946 is when Bellevue Square Mall opened. So there you go. Kemper Development Company. They have a Wikipedia. Bellevue Square, here we go. Okay. Shopping center in Bellevue. History. Bellevue Square opened August 20, 1946, trading under the name Bellevue Square Shopping. First suburban department store opened, Marshall and Fields Company through its Seattle-based subsidiary, Frederick and Nelson. The mall's name short and above you square a few years later. They don't mention anything about the fact that they were building it during World War II. That's for sure. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, if you want clean and no personality, Bellevue's your thing. There are some cool neighborhoods like Newcastle. What's the other hill? I can't remember the hill, but you get some great views, like beautiful westward-facing views on one side, eastward-facing views of the Cascades on the other. The western ones are more desirable because then you can see like downtown Seattle and the Olympics and Mount Rainier to the south and stuff. They're Bellevue's it's nice. It's just that's all. It's like if you took Orange County, California, and put it in Seattle. There's not much personality to most of it, and it's a lot of shopping centers, and everything has been built within the last 30 years. That's kind of what Bellevue is. Charles Bronson. Also, why are there so many YouTube videos on people not wanting to work 9-to-5 jobs anymore? To piggyback, explain the chase glitch, people affected. I mean, I don't think people want to work 9-to-5 jobs anymore because working sucks. You don't get paid enough to do what you do. You spend all your time commuting, or life sucks. You don't have pensions anymore, so there's no hope of retirement. You're constantly fighting to survive every day, and prices still go up. So I think the disaffectedness of why are we doing this? The world's going to end anyway. I think there's a lot of kind of nihilist apathy that's happening out of it. But that's what I think. People got to work because they got to pay their bills and stuff. But jobs aren't fun. You grow up thinking your life is going to be one way and get this direction. It's going to be awesome, and it turns out it's not very awesome. I think there's a lot of people just being like, fuck this, fuck the whole system, fuck everything. And I think that's kind of what they're going on. But the chase glitch isn't a glitch. It's just check fraud. So a TikToker was like, hey man, here's a glitch. You write a check to yourself for $50,000 and deposit it into your Chase bank, and then you go to the ATM and you withdraw $50,000, and you have $50,000 all of a sudden. And then your check bounces, and Chase Bank will have you arrested for check fraud. So it's just a crime. It's not a glitch. It's just a crime. That's what they're doing. Citizen 54. Dave Rubin, Benny Johnson, Tim Pool are treasonous a-holes. Throw them in Guantanamo and throw away the key. No high road for these traitors. I think they knew exactly what they're doing. I mean, they're getting paid. But Benny Johnson's getting paid $400,000 a month from this alone to do 4 posts for these people, and all of them just happen to be pro-Russia. It's you knew exactly what you're doing, man. You can try to pretend like you didn't, but Akilah Hughes put it succinctly. She's like, Tim Pool's an 8th grade education, and Benny Johnson got fired from BuzzFeed for plagiarism. These guys are simple marks right off the bat because they're not very good at what they do. They're just grifting dumb liars to begin with. And Tim Pool very publicly a couple days ago was like, I'm going to sue Kamala Harris for defamation for her account posting a video of him saying what he said. That's not how defamation works, dude. Plus, if you sue for defamation and you go to court, the judge is going to make you take your beanie off. So there's no way he's going to put up with that risk. That guy does not want anyone to see his hairline at all. Embrace it, dude. Male pattern balls happens to all of us. Just, it's your life, man. It's what comes from it. Alexander K. Morningstar's website is showing 4.8 billion shares are owned of GameStop. You think it's accurate or a glitch? It's definitely a glitch. The fund that's associated with all stocks that they own are just way off. It says that they own 14 billion of AMC and 10 billion of Microsoft, and just it's some glitch. It doesn't really seem to be a mathematical reason to it. It's not like a misplaced decimal point because they're all off at different levels. So I don't know what happened in the reporting of that, but it definitely seems glitchy to me. Ford ZZ9, happy birthday, Houston. Can you talk more about Carl owning Rite Aid and it's going private? Some people are saying that it's part of the whole master plan. It may be part of the whole master plan. I honestly don't know. Go back there. Oh, it's your claw on the case. Oh, sorry. States attorneys general are going to say like, oh no, we forgive that debt. They're gonna want to get their pay because they're already planning on spending that money at the state level. So I always figured that as debtors to that lawsuit, that it'd be hard for Rite Aid to come out of it sort of squeaky clean. So it looks like the creditors took control of the company. It's now a private company. They went meh with the shares. Now, some people are having that hope that there's going to be reissuance of shares. I honestly don't know, because I don't think it's one of those companies where the nulls are going to be incredibly useful because of the liabilities to the lawsuit settlement. Honestly, I don't know. I just don't know which way it's going to go. And ICANN's probably picking up, a $30 billion company for a few $100 million, basically in the end. It won't care about, the opioid settlement will just get worked into the cost of doing business at some point. But, it's going to come out leaner. I don't know. But I don't know if equity is going to be going to the shareholders in that one. Not a clue. Could be kind of like the Party City one where the creditors took it and meh. All right, Monkey. You okay? Are you thinking? What's on your mind? Any plans? Yeah? No, just staring at me and hoping for the cookies. That'll come maybe eventually. Daniel Motes, Houston, happy birthday. You think GME will get spicy before year's end? Probably. The next swap would be November. There's a chance. There's always a chance something weird's going to happen. Oh, hi, Monkey. Your little nose. I think what I'm thinking is going to happen is the price is going to go up, a few dollars by the 10th. Then the afternoon of the 10th, GameStop gives their earnings report. Shorts will hammer it down. So I'm probably Friday going to buy some calls, some weeklies for next week. And then, might day trade those leading into Wednesday on the 10th. And then right before close, I'm going to buy a bunch of puts and just kind of see where it goes. Some folks are looking at selling covered calls. I think it wouldn't be that bad. If you want to sell some covered calls next week, you'll probably make some money off of it. Because the price is going to go up. So the implied volatility is going to be really high. So if you sell a bunch of covered calls, a few dollars above where it is now, like $4 or $5 above where it's now, you can probably make hundreds of dollars per call, and then they'll hammer it down after earnings, and that'll be it. It's probably a good, not financial advisor, but it's probably a pretty solid mode. Right, Monkey? You're just such a sweet little dog. You know that. You are. Okay. Daniel Batchelor, Houston. Interesting tinfoil and GME and Microsoft partnership. NFT marketplace may still be in play and allow GameStop to buy and sell digital games for Xbox. I've not seen that. Send me the tinfoil. I'd love to read it. Sad Boy, Houston. I finally made it to a stream. If No Labs reaches a market cap of 100 billion, what does that mean the share price would be? And 300, 500 billion as well. Well, doink. Turn that off. Turn that on. There's calculator. Okay. So right now it's what, like 87 million shares. So 100 billion. My thing's in the way there. That's billion. Okay. Divide that by 87 million shares. And we're at 1,149 per share. And granted, if it gets to that big, there'll be all sorts of splits along the way. It's just the equivalent share now. That's what the value would be. And if it gets to 300 billion, 3,000. And 500 billion, my guess would be 5,700 or something. So, yeah, the potential is there. If they get FDA approval, then, you know, they're going to be making money hand over fist. I don't know how many years it will take to get to that level, but it would come. And I think it would come faster than we'd realize, because anyone you know who's diabetic would crave an accurate, non-invasive device. Anytime you don't have to like prick yourself is a win at that point. So, yeah, I think it's going to do all right. Just Miami, come on, Houston. They were all tricked by the Russians. Oh, the money. Well, I know. It's really easy to get tricked for $10 million, isn't it? You're like, oh, whoops. Didn't mean to take that $10 million. If I had only known, right? Like Tim Pool is claiming is unwitting, and they his deal with Tenet Media means he has total editorial control of my show. Really? Because in the indictment, they list a specific event where Tenet Media told you to put in a clip about Tucker Carlson in Moscow going shopping in a grocery store. Right? Like, because they were forced to by their contract with the Russians, who were paying them $10 million. And so Tim Pool either was like, yeah, totally take control of my editorial style, or he doesn't have control of he doesn't have editorial control of his show and does what he's told. So you aren't unwitting if that's the case. Like, personally, as a human being who's like thoughts of my own, and I'm an autonomous human being, if somebody came to me and was like, Houston, can you please put in this Tucker Carlson segment into your show and give it a thumbs up and talk glowingly about it, I'd be like, fuck you, get out of here, Ivan, right? Because Tucker Carlson's a piece of crap. Did you see his show yesterday? He brought in this dude, Daryl Cooper, a historian. Daryl Cooper. He has a history podcast that it's from the Nazi perspective. He claims he's not a Nazi, but he's a Nazi. And everyone talks about him as if he's a professor of history. The dude never went to college. He graduated high school, joined the Navy, and that's his entire qualifications. He never went to college. He never studied history. He read a couple of books that have been completely debunked about how Winston Churchill was the true bad guy in World War II and not Hitler. Hitler was just, responding to Churchill the entire time. He then released, this Cooper dude, then released a 100 tweet thread, all, trying to state the facts of the history of why Churchill was the bad guy and the belligerent in World War II, and Hitler was just, trying to sue for peace and make everyone happy. And since then, the community notes have absolutely just eviscerated the guy. He's got his entire timeline wrong. He stated that Churchill did all these things as prime minister years before Churchill was prime minister, right? That all Hitler ever wanted was peace, and he never wanted to invade France and Belgium, but Churchill made him, right? And that that Hitler was only started being mean to the Jews because Churchill wouldn't stop the war. It's like, dude, Kristallnacht was in 1938, right? The Dachau was built in 1934. And then it turns out this guy's got all sorts of tweets that are pro-Hitler and pro-Nazi and everything else. But that's the type of person who goes on Tucker Carlson's show. So if you ask me to put a Tucker Carlson segment on my show, from when he went to Russia and gave Putin a big old blowy, it's not going to happen. You're going to have to pay me a lot more than $10 million for me to sell out that way. I just don't think that all the money in the world is not worth It just isn't worth destroying the fabric of society, right? Like what good is being we're a multimillionaire if you bring about death and carnage to everybody else? It just doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't, like, okay, I have to be surrounded by armed guards in a compound. And you have no freedom because if you leave, the gangs of the warlords are going to get you. Like, that is how you get there. Is that you sell out that way? Oh, my dad's calling me at the moment. I'm gonna have to call him back. Doing my show. So yeah, it's, I don't know. Yeah, it'd be nice to be rich, wouldn't it? Being rich is great, but being rich and destroying society at the same time just seems like a really terrible trade-off, and it's not worth it. I don't want to be the villain. I guess that's what it comes down to. And I think Tim Pool, Benny Johnson, Dave Rubin, Lauren Southern, like, they're all willing to be the villain because, well, they're kind of terrible people to begin with. I mean, Lauren Southern is a straight-up white supremacist. She is. You can go through her tweet history, her podcast history. She is a white supremacist, pro-Nazi weirdo. And it's bit her in the ass so hard. When she was like 22, right? She was coming up as this like trad wife, role model. She met her husband, some Australian guy who worked in national security in Australia. And she moved from Canada to Australia and just started pumping out babies, right? Only discover that he just beat the shit out of her. And, she tried to, I'm going to become a trad wife. And then he ended up hating her even more, right? Because she's just this useless thing who cooks some food and, pops out babies, right? And so, like, she's like, I didn't understand the whole why I, as a trad wife, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, and my husband just treats me like dirt even more, right? Because you are a thing to him. You're not a human being. You're an object to be owned and possessed, and you're a robot to just do what he says when he says it. You're not allowed to have opinions. That's why he was attracted to you, because you went for this whole trad wife, this gambit of like, my entire job is to be subservient to my husband. And then when it came time to be subservient to your husband, you're like, man, this sucks. Right? So she had to leave her husband, move back to Canada, and jumped right back into the whole podcasting trad wife bullshit thing again, just to lead more women into that realm. What's his butt, Kitty? The change my mind guy that like got in a fight with Ben Shapiro. Oh my gosh, was Steven Crowder. Well, that's something else. Steven Crowder, same thing, right? Like he marries a woman who's going to be the whole trad wife side, and then he starts abusing her, and she leaves him. Well, honey, that's what you get when you marry a guy who spends all day every day hating women and thinking they shouldn't have rights. I don't want to say it's her fault. It's not. It's Steven Crowder's fault. But like, you have to go into these situations thinking like, wow, this guy is kind of a monster. He supports monster things, and now those things are happening to me. He wouldn't let his wife drive. She had to go he's like, oh, you need to get food. Well, she's like, you won't give me the keys to go drive places. I can't have my phone. I can't, like, it's obvious abusive situations. And like, Steven Crowder did weird things. Like, he told everyone he had a heart problem. He had to have heart surgery and stuff. It wasn't heart surgery. It was to fix his sternum excavata. I have a sternum excavata. It's where your sternum is slightly concave. It's a little bit. So, and he did it while his wife was like in labor, his elective surgery, while his wife was in labor in a very terrible pregnancy with twins, to basically make it so that he got all the attention rather than his poor wife, who has like a crazy, twin birth thing going on, like they're sharing placenta and stuff. It's it's silly. Matt, are people classified like classified birds, Nazis, non-Nazis? Basically, I mean, you're either a Nazi or not a Nazi, right? Because that's how it works. If there if there's a Nazi sitting at a table, right, and 10 people go sit with a Nazi and have a good conversation with them, there's now 10 Nazis sitting at that table. It's so easy to go through life, and when you encounter somebody who is supremely racist, white nationalist, white supremacist, right, overtly and violently homophobic, things like that, your job as a human being with a frontal lobe and a conscience and all this stuff is to go, that person's a piece of crap. It's that easy. You say, that person sucks. They're a Nazi. Done. Your life is so much simpler now. But if instead you're like, let's hear them out. Let's see what they have to say, and they have there's nothing worthwhile to say there, man. There just isn't. They're a Nazi. They're a piece of crap. Daryl Cooper's tweets. Let's go through some of these suckers here. Why not? Wait, why? What is going on there? Why are you broken? I want settings. Why? Okay, here we go. Come on, let's go there. Let's go there. Okay. Gotta scroll to it here. Oh, not that one. All right, I gotta. I tweet a lot. Okay. Let's keep scrolling. Here we go. So, here is. That's not at all. It's a calculator still. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. Here's Dale Cooper. The emotional intelligence people upset about my Tucker interview is proof of my point about the sacred nature of World War II mythos, and has done more to weaken the narrative than anything I could have said myself. So thanks, guys. I couldn't do it without you. His entire thesis was made up whole cloth. It is completely fake. It doesn't correlate to chronological order, linear time, how calendars or clocks work. It is complete hogwash garbage, all to say that Hitler was a good guy. And he's gonna be like, "Oh, I'm not a Nazi." Really? You're not a Nazi. Okay, let's go. I had to block this dude because I'd blocked him years earlier too because he's just a terrible, terrible shit stain. Okay. All right, so I want to get to. Oh, that's how we do it. We go Paris. Is that what you want? Oh crap! It's not. I gotta do it under him. Paris, and it's martyr. Crap. Come on. Martyr made Paris. Here we go. Here's a tweet from him. This may be putting it too crudely for some, but the picture on the left was infinitely preferable in virtually every way than the one on the right. The one on the left is Hitler and his generals after they have sacked Paris and taken control for the Nazi regime. And what's happening while they're marching here in Paris is that the SS is now going door to door throughout France and taking all the undesirables and shipping them off to camps where they're going to get murdered, if they're not getting murdered in their homes right off the bat by the SS. The one on the right was the drag team at the Paris Olympics reenacting the Feast of Dionysus. Okay, so you get some people reenacting the Feast of Dionysus for an international audience, and everyone had a great time, versus Hitler and his generals conquering Paris in a blitzkrieg and then murdering millions of French people because they were undesirables. And here he is claiming that it's much more desirable to have Hitler rampaging through Europe, senselessly murdering people, than it is for a couple of drag performers to like make a goofy little story. There's no comparison. You are a Nazi if this is how you think. 100% straight up, no doubt, a Nazi. This guy is a Nazi. You don't post pro-Hitler stuff unless you're a Nazi. That is how you are a Nazi. It's that simple. So, yeah, people do come into a category of Nazi or not Nazi. And on Twitter, there are a lot of fucking Nazis. Just go right now, go to your Twitter and just type in the word Groyper. Just Groyper. Groyper. Type that in there. You will get tens of thousands of Nazi accounts. Because Groypers are Nazis. They either believe the Holocaust didn't happen, or it should have happened, and if they think it didn't happen, it should have happened. Those are the three arguments you'll get out of those Groypers. They're Nazis. They're white supremacists. And that's what they are. And our current system here, where we got folks like Tim Pool and Benny Johnson and Dave Rubin and Lauren Southern, and they're being paid by Russians to promote this stuff to you, to normalize it and make you think that the Nazis aren't that bad. Oh, they're not that bad. I mean, Churchill was the bad one. You know, when Hitler invaded all of the United Kingdom's allies, when Hitler invaded all the United Kingdom's allies, Churchill had to like go to war or something to defend them. Pfft, what an asshole. Like, it's, oh my gosh, it's just so dumb that we have to put up with this in this day and age. And like, I would say read a book, but the problem is that clowns like this Daryl Cooper guy did read a book. He read a really, 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 really shitty book. Crap, what was it? It was James Buchanan. Is it James Buchanan? No. Crap. Buchanan. Unnecessary War. Unnecessary. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. Here we go. Churchill, Hitler, and the Unnecessary War. So, where was it? It was New York Sun. Okay. No, nothing history. Here we go. I don't know if I'll read the entire thing. I have to put it into 12foot.io, because it's going to be bam, 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 bam. Here we go. Okay. So this is a review of when The Unnecessary War came out, which is basically where this Daryl Cooper guy read this book. This dude who never went to college and for some reason has a history podcast, read this book that was not based in reality, had almost no source citation, all claiming that Churchill was the real bad guy in World War II, and that Hitler was basically justified in the Holocaust. That's what this comes down to. So it gets reviewed by Adam Kirsch, an actual historian, and basically it points out that this book is a giant steaming pile of dog shit that should not be on the New York Times bestseller list because it's Nazi propaganda, just modern Nazi propaganda. And he goes through and he talks about, you know, all the things they're historically wrong. We can read the whole thing if we want. It's a delicious irony, but also a significant one, that Churchill, Hitler, and the Unnecessary War, Patrick Buchanan's new contribution to the flourishing genre of World War II revisionism, should appear in the same season as Nicholas Baker's Human Smoke. Never has there been such a clear demonstration of the way ideological extremes tend to converge. Baker Buchanan probably could not stand to be in the same room for 5 minutes. The former is to the left of the most Democrats, the latter is to the right of most Republicans. When they look back in the 1930s, Mr. Baker's role models are the Quakers, the pacifists who believed it was better to lie down for Hitler and then take up arms to fight him. And Mr. Buchanan's are the isolationists who believed Nazi Germany was a necessary bulwark against real menace, godless communism, but the net result of their lubrications are the same. Both men have written books arguing that World War II, far from being the good war of myth, was an unnecessary folly that Britain and America should never have engaged in. And both have zeroed in on Winston Churchill as the war's true villain, an immoral, hypocritical, bloodthirsty braggart whose fame is a hoax on posterity. Or Mr. Baker's book can be, and in most quarters has been, dismissed as ignorant blundering of a novelist who wandered far out of his depth, Mr. Buchanan's book is more dangerous. For Mr. Buchanan, a former speechwriter in the Nixon and Reagan White House, was once a notable presence in the mainstream American politics. Since the collapse of a second protest candidacy for the Republican nomination for president in 1996, however, he has in fact left the mainstream behind, not just by associating himself with the fringe Reform Party, but by publishing a series of books whose Spenglerian rhetoric about the decline of the West lays bare the racist and reactionary premise of his thought. Just from the title of Mr. Buchanan's books, Day of Reckoning, State of Emergency, Death of the West, it is clear that he deploys a rhetoric of violence and treason more redolent of the German right in the Weimar period than of anything in the American conservative tradition. Open the books themselves and things get only worse. Mr. Buchanan is a man who can write. In Day of Reckoning, that we are on a path to national suicide, not because he is oblivious to the echoes of the old eugenist term race suicide, but because he positively embraces them. The American majority, he writes, or what he later openly calls white folks, is not reproducing itself, with the result that Asian, African, and Latin American children have come to inherit the estate the lost generation of American children can never get to see. That Asian, African, Latin American children, once they come to America, are American children is a fact that Mr. Buchanan is strongly reluctant to acknowledge. And reluctant as a 19th century know-nothing would have been to acknowledge the Irish Catholic like Mr. Buchanan could ever truly be an American. How it must gall him to think that the next president of America might be named Barack Hussein Obama. What happens when such a man turns to World War II, which in so many ways created and defined the America he loathes, an America whose 19th century isolationism gave way under pressure of necessity and the lure of opportunity to liberal internationalism? Churchill, Hitler, and the Necessary War provides the answer. Though, as his title suggests, Mr. Buchanan's critique of contemporary America is made only indirectly, ostensibly, the targets of his invective are Churchill and the British Empire, and his argument strictly historical one. Not until his closing pages does Mr. Buchanan state explicitly what has been evident all along, that his blast at the British past is really a polemic about the American future. There is hardly a blunder of the British Empire we have not emulated, he writes, and he concludes with the putatively sinister image of President Bush contemplating a bust of Churchill. Mr. Buchanan's historical argument itself is pedestrian. In a series of cliches envisioned only by malign sophistries, most of the book is dedicated to retelling the most often told story of the 20th century, the suicide of Europe in the two world wars. Here, once again, are the Guns of August on loan from Barbara Tuchman and the rise and fall of the Third Reich, as told by William Schreier. When Mr. Buchanan is not quoting venerable popularizing histories like these, he is quoting the most popular of the revisionists, such as Noel Ferguson, who argued in The Pity of War that Britain should not have entered World War I. By far the most important source of Mr. Buchanan, however, is the British military historian Corelli Barnett, whose book The Collapse of British Power is quoted copiously. Mr. Barnett may have not endeared himself to Mr. Buchanan with his vocal opposition to the Iraq War. Another nice example of extreme converging. Noam Chomsky has cited Mr. Bennett in his own anti-war writings. Mr. Buchanan's total reliance on the work of historians, there is no sign in this book that has opened a scholarly journal or delved into an archive, makes it a bit rich for him to claim that he is out to overturn some historians' consensus conspiracy. Historians today, he writes, see in Hitler's actions during the 1930s a series of preconceived and brilliant moves on the chessboard of Europe, reflecting the grand strategy of an evil genius unfolding step by step. This is mythology. The only mythology here is the existence of such naive historians, none of whom Mr. Buchanan actually names. In fact, almost all of Mr. Buchanan's contentions have long pedigrees. When he writes that the Treaty of Versailles had created not only an unjust but unsustainable peace, he is echoing what John Maynard Keynes wrote in the very year of the treaty, and what is now close to a commonplace as history can show. There is really only one controversial claim in Hitler, Churchill, and the Necessary War. This is the notion that Britain should not have offered to guarantee Poland against Nazi aggression in April 1939, and so would not have had to go to war when the aggression came that September. Oh crap, of course my dead guy monitor wants to crap out on me because it only lasts like 15 minutes at a time. Here we go. Come on, monitor. There we are. Okay. and so would not have had to go to war when the aggression came that September. This would have been the wiser course, Mr. Buchanan argues, because Hitler had no interest in war with Britain. In fact, he admired the English as racial comrades, and more than once floated the prospect of the two nations dividing up the world between them. His real target was the Soviet Union, and it would have been better for Britain and the world to allow those two monstrous tyrannies to fight each other alone. Okay. For one, just to pause right there, Hitler and the Soviet Union had a pact to equally divide up Poland. So they allied with each other. So don't forget that. Like before Stalin became an ally of the West during World War II, he was a member of the Axis. So in the fact that Hitler turned on Stalin in 1941 just kind of shows that Hitler wasn't to be trusted as word in any way, shape, or form. Okay, it's hard to say which aspect of this argument is more objectionable, the factual or the ethical. Factually, or rather counterfactually, it is ludicrous to suggest that Britain would have been better off allowing Germany a free hand in Eastern Europe. When Hitler did invade the Soviet Union in June 1941, he came with a hair's breadth of immediate victory, pushing deep into the Russian territory, enslaving or killing millions upon millions of civilians. Had Britain not been in the war at that point, had Hitler been fighting Stalin alone, there is good reason to think that the Wehrmacht would have been in Moscow by the end of the year. At that point, of course, it would have been truly suicidal for Britain to declare war on Germany, and Hitler would have been free to concentrate on invading the British Isles or starving them into submission. Only by getting into the war when he did, even at that very propitious moment, did Britain have a chance of ultimate survival. Mr. Buchanan's arguments against the overwhelming conclusion are notably feeble. Hitler might have turned west after defeating Stalin, he writes, but why? But por qué? Why would he do that? Here, Mr. Buchanan's weak grasp of strategy merges with his weak grasp of ideology. For he writes about Nazi Germany as a realist, that is, as one who believes that its ideological character was less important than its power political goals. Hitler wanted to reunite the Germans severed from fatherland by Versailles, Mr. Buchanan argues, so there is no reason to think that he would have gone to conquer the whole continent of Europe. Mr. Buchanan could have been cured of this delusion by reading Hannah Arendt's analysis, The Origins of Totalitarianism, in which she lays bare the distinctive quality of Nazism and Stalinism, that it was not a party but a movement which would keep itself alive only by constant motion, new conquests, and new transformations of society. Which is true. I mean, the fact that Hitler invaded nations that weren't Germanic and then took them over and then killed other people demonstrates that Hitler was a bad guy and not to be trusted. Hitler himself made very plain that Germany was only the beginning of his ambitions, which ran to the complete reorganization of the world as a racial hierarchy. Left to his own devices, Hitler would have completed the genocide of the Jews, made Poland, Ukraine, German slave colonies, depopulated Russia, and commit even more horrors against the Christian peoples for whom Mr. Buchanan professes such solicitude when contemplating their suffering under communism. Churchill, of course, was the one British statesman who recognized that Europe dominated by Hitler would never be at peace, and who never wavered from the consequences of this insight. Here lies his greatness. Here, and not in every act and pronouncement of his long checkered career, which Mr. Buchanan maliciously combs through. Perhaps those who only know Churchill as a name or a bulldog profile will be surprised by Mr. Buchanan's disclosures that Churchill was impetuous, a bad military strategist, and unregenerate imperialist. It is rather nauseating, however, to see Mr. Buchanan, of all people, impugning Churchill for racism. He devotes the section of his book to Churchill's anti-immigration stand in the 1950s. Churchill believed that Keep England White was a good slogan, while Mr. Buchanan calls it an astonishing slogan in a day when Dr. Martin Luther King was starting out in Montgomery. He's even brazen enough to write that Churchill had prevailed, England would not have become the multiracial, multicultural nation of today. Kind of forgetting that England had already conquered half the world as an empire anyway and was doing horrible things in colonies, and all those people in colonies now became under the British realm, could travel to England. But regardless. Okay. When one remembers if there was one cause Mr. Buchanan himself cherishes, it is immigration restriction. When one recalls his words on national suicide and the invasion of American by non-whites, and his constant inveighing against multiculturalism. When one remembers that the first pages of this very book lament as a share of world population, peoples of European ancestry have been shrinking for 3 generations, and that we are slowly disappearing from the earth, Mr. Buchanan's feline criticism Churchill stands as a piece of truly shameless hypocrisy. In any case, everything that was weak in Churchill's character and objectionable in his politics was well known during his lifetime in the mid-1930s. Indeed, he was one of the most unpopular politicians of Britain. But the reason why he came back from exile to be named Prime Minister in May 1940, England's darkest hour, was not because he was a perfect statesman, but because he was indomitable. We shall go on the end. We shall fight in France. We shall fight on the seas and the oceans. We shall fight with growing confidence and growing strengths in the air. We shall defend our island, whatever the cost may be. We shall fight on the beaches. We shall fight on the landing grounds. We shall fight in the fields and in the streets. We shall fight in the hills. We shall never surrender. Pity the nation that reaches a point where it needs a Churchill to save it. But pity even more a nation that needing a Churchill fails to find one. Basically, this dude was trying to claim, this Dylan Cooper dude, he's basically trying to claim that World War II was Churchill's fault. And not at all the fault of Hitler, who invaded Poland, who annexed Austria, who invaded the Czech Republic, who invaded Belgium, who invaded Norway, who invaded Russia, who invaded Holland, who invaded France, right? Who then turned on the Allies in Italy, who invaded, the Balkans, who invaded Romania, who invaded Hungary, who invaded Slovakia. Like, he invaded almost the whole of Europe, right? And somehow Churchill was the bad guy from yeah, maybe you shouldn't do that, man. Stop it. Those are our buddies. And Hitler been like, no, I'm just going to kill all of them. Oh my God, it's so easy. So easy to just be like, hey, Nazis, you suck. You can do it every day. You can make an affirmation when you wake up in the morning. Be like, today, I'm not going to be a Nazi. I'm not going to apologize for Nazis. I'm not going to make excuses for Nazis. I'm not going to be friends with Nazis. I'm not going to high five them. I'm not going to give them a like on social media. It's just so easy to go through your day and do that. It's not that hard. It's not that difficult. So yeah, you can definitely break the world up into Nazis and everyone else. This is why when people were trying to claim Antifa, Antifa's out there and they're gonna get everyone. It's this giant organization. Antifa means anti-fascist, which means if you aren't a Nazi, you're a member of Antifa. That's it. You're an anti-fascist. Now, they're trying to state there's certain members of the Black Bloc, they're more organized, but everyone who is not a Nazi is a member of Antifa. That's it. Congratulations. You can ask yourself, am I a fascist? If your answer is no, welcome. You are anti-fascist. You are now Antifa. If your answer is yes, I'm a fascist, well, you're FA. You're a fascist. That's that simple. So yeah, you can break that down very, very easily. Just like you can break it down, are people, Americans, support America, or are they neo-Confederates? Or they have the South is going to rise again bent? Then guess what? They're neo-Confederates and they're a bunch of assholes. You don't have to be friends with them. It's that simple. Bam, bam, done. Yeah, so, just keep that as in your back pocket, as a little tail. It's pretty easy to do. Anyway, enough ranting and reading 16-year-old articles here. Pat Buchanan, long dead. Pat Buchanan, Pat Buchanan was accused of being a Nazi during the 96 campaign and before. He was always like, Hitler's a good dude in the end. Danny Batchelor, GameStop also has a patent for cloud gaming. I saw that they had a patent for that. I don't know how useful cloud gaming is, because you still need a computer that has enough memory to be able to store enough stuff, because trying to stream that much information over the internet is pretty brutal. So it's way more efficient at the moment to have computers that are rooted that can still handle lots of information and storage. Colin, Fantasy Draft's supposed to start at 8 Eastern Time, now push 10:30. We'll be listening from the draft. welcome. We did our fantasy draft for this year's first Houston Problem League. I like my team pretty well. So, you know, I got Tua, even though one of the teams is named after Tua. I got him as my backup QB at that. So I feel pretty good about this season. My tight ends, meh, but other than that, you know, we're doing all right. Statistically speaking, there's only one good tight end in the entire league, and that's Kelsey. Everyone else is like trash compared to him. Jimmy Graham's gone. Sad Boy Incorporated, my brother is worried about me since I own 350,000 shares and he only has 10,000 claims. I don't need to reach 1 million. Nonsense. I mean, you get to 1 million, you might be able to even get on the board of the company at that point. Tankman142. When BBBY merger acquisition, when merger acquisition, when Moon, when Houston have a problem banana and Sprite eating competition at Houston Fest. Actually, that'd be a pretty funny competition at Houston Fest. I'll get you guys buckets. No idea about Baby. The plan man pushing his ability to jettison claims to March tells me there's a lot of paperwork they got to go through. The estimates were there's about $1 billion to 1.4 billion in debts that the debtors have. The unsecured claims have that at closer to 3 billion, which means there's a whole bunch of gobbledygook in there that has to get jettisoned. And I don't know if they can emerge from bankruptcy while still jettisoning that stuff, or if they can't emerge until they've gotten rid of all of it. I imagine there's just as much right now happening with Rite Aid and unsecured claims and bogus claims and things like that, especially since they went bankrupt, I think, after Bed Bath did. So my guess is that the plan man could still work on the estate doing that while something else emerges, I would think, but don't hold me to it. I'll wait till people who are a little more versed in that to weigh in. Ludicrous Speed, NASA is going to bring the Starliner back empty on Friday. Interested to see how it goes. Me too. They had to bring it back this month because the batteries were going to be dead by October. I'd be curious to keep the capsule pressurized, see how it comes back remotely, and if it explodes or not. But yeah, Boeing Boeing has not been having a good run, man. They really destroyed the culture at that company big time. And I don't know if they're going to be able to fix it. They're going to have to clean house. Every executive who does not have an engineering degree should probably just be put on the curb for free and left there until the trash pickup comes along. And then take accomplished engineers and put them in charge they're an important government contractor. We need to ensure that our planes are being built to the specs that we want, the standards we want, and the quality we want. And if they're able to do all this crap with space contracts and with private airlines and all this stuff, what are they doing with the military contracts? That's what I want to know. So, fix it. David Hashemi, Houston, I hope a little kitty is okay. Spy puts tomorrow? I have not even looked at Spy. I know the Nikkei got hammered last night. I think more bad news is coming for Nvidia. So, and they're a huge part of the Spy and the NASDAQ, like 1000 and stuff. Yeah, if you got the money, I'd go a little bit longer, further out, because it's going to, I think, slowly erode rather than crash quickly. Yeah, Nvidia's not good. They're definitely gonna have some problems, and it's gonna bring everything else down with it. And little kitty's good. She's sleeping in her room, waiting for my roommate to get home. Rose Moon, Houston, what are your unpopular food takes? Unpopular food takes. I mean, there are certain things, like most stuff that I don't like to eat, it's like texture related. I don't mind the flavor of mushrooms. I hate the feeling of biting into one. I just hate it. I don't mind tomatoes when they are turned into sauces. You know, spaghetti sauce, amazing. Pizza sauce, amazing. Tomato soup, fantastic. I don't like feeling one burst in my mouth when I bite into it. I don't like it. I love olive oil. I don't like biting into an olive. I don't know if I'm on some part of the spectrum that makes it just like give me the heebie-jeebies when that happens, but that's kind of how it rolls. There's very few things where it's the taste that really gets to me. Like, I love vegetables. I love green vegetables. I generally don't like leafy green vegetables when they're cooked. Like spinach, kale, there's some bitterness that comes to it, and I don't like it at all. I will eat all those raw, or at least massaged or something. But yeah, I guess that's my food stuff. Is there stuff that people want to hang me for? I think pineapple's amazing, and pineapple can be on anything you want because it's delicious. Put it on steak, put it on pizza. I don't care. It's a delicious food and should be celebrated for being as delicious food as. It's a beautiful acidic food that can tenderize meats so well and can balance out savory things really well. So the people who are like follow the fad, are like, oh, pineapple should be on pizza. Pineapple's delicious. Monkey butt. Monkey butt will eat anything except for undressed lettuce. If the lettuce has dressing on it, she'll slurp that up. No dressing, no dice. But other than that, she'll eat apples. She eats oranges. Oranges are her favorite. Blackberries, strawberries, cherries, carrots, celery, potatoes. She doesn't like French fries very much, though. She's not a big fan of French fries, but she'll eat other forms of potato. Mashed, chip, pan-fried, scalloped. Yeah, won't you? Won't you, buddy? Can I think of other things? Restaurants are better in Seattle than they are in New York. I'll put that out there. Been in New York several times. I've had some decent meals in New York. But overall quality, I'll say Seattle has a higher quality of food in general if you go to medium to fine dining around the Puget Sound. Most of them are all farm to table. A lot of them own their own farms. And you just get a higher quality of food in general than you do in New York. Yes, New York gets press because that's where all the big press guys are. And I'm sure if you spend $1,000 for a meal, you can get something that's pretty fine. But if you're going to spend $25 to $50 for a meal, you'll get better food in Seattle than you will in New York. West Coast in general, I think, has better restaurants in general than the East Coast. I'll put that out there. Yeah. So, there. You guys can hang me now. Pacheco Ron, Lava Lakes on Jovian Moon. Lol. Io. Yes. Here. Watch out. Watch out, dog. Watch out. Oh. Do I have a frame stitched together survey of Io erupting? Yes, I do. Hangs over my bed. Yeah. Managed to obtain those in college. NASA lent a whole bunch of beautiful frame photographs of star missions. I've got lunar landing photographs, all sorts of things. Beautiful framed prints. Lent them to our college. And as members of the astrophysics club, it was all being stored in this one professor's office. They weren't being hung anywhere. And he was like, do you guys want them? And so my roommate and I divvied them all up. He was a deep space guy. I was a planetary guy. I basically took all the planetary images. He took all the deep space images. And then we moved away and we kept them. And it turns out they were property of the NASA. But that's 20 years ago, so statute of limitations is gone. They were just being lent to the college and they weren't theirs to give to us. But hey, I'll blame Professor Hamilton. That's his fault for giving them to us in the first place. Right, monkey? Yeah. Oh crap, there's a reset of the chat. Oh, I didn't see Javier Martinez gift us memberships. Colin got a membership. Daniel Batchelor got a membership. Sad Boy Incorporated got a membership. Mancheco Ron and Matt were all giving memberships. So thank you, Javier. Come on. Says 54, why do Russians seem like such terrible people? I'm not generalizing, but seem to be miserable haters who are just hell-bent on suffering and destruction, media narrative, or unfortunate truth. They've been through some shit. They have. They have been through it for hundreds of years now. Under the rule of czars, under the rule of communism, under the rule of Putin. They haven't gotten a fair shake. They've not been able to enjoy the good life in any way, shape, or form. And the one thing the fall of communism did was it gave the freedom to the members of the KGB to develop an oligarchy and a mafia system. And this oligarchy and mafia system just stole. They enjoy the good life. The minimal amount of people who had a conscience left. The minimal amount of people who had the means to, the middle class or maybe slightly better, they also left, leaving behind the absolute bottom dregs of society that was left. And those people are understandably bitter. They want the good life. They want the things that make life great and fun and interesting. And they're like the people in a bitter old dying town expecting the mill to open back up, and it's just not going to. You can sit there in your West Virginia coal town where the mine's completely played out, and there's like 3 Subway sandwich artist jobs, a job at the gas station. That's pretty much it. And you're like, oh, someday the jobs are coming back. Rah. And you're going to get more and more bitter as time goes on, because what is the reality is you got to leave. There's nothing there for you. Turn that town to a ghost town, move on to somewhere else, and live the better life. I get it. Your roots are there, your family's there, your history's there, but the town is dead or dying, and the cat is totally yelling at the cat. Shut the fuck up. You don't get to just sit and yell. All right, you fat turd, you can come right here, and you can just sit right here rather than yelling. Can you do that? So I think a lot of Russia are just kind of bitter that other people get to have the good life and they don't. And so what they want now as a result is to take the good life from other people. It's a bully mentality, right? Your home life sucks. Your dad beats on you. You know, your mom's an alcoholic, whatever. You're going to go to school and you're going to make other people feel as small as you feel, because it gives you that brief endorphin rush. It makes you feel like you're not in this alone. And I think there's a mentality of the Russian population, and yeah, they are bombarded with propaganda all the time. You know, Putin's the best, Nazis in Ukraine, blah blah blah, and they think, they're like, yeah, my life might suck, but you know what can be awesome? We make their life suck too. I think that's kind of part of it. And there are people, you know, there are a few scholars and folks still left in Russia who think this is wrong, and they're quickly being detained and sent off to prison. And then when they're in prison, they're given the opportunity to go to the front line and die. So, you know, it's no different than under any other criminal leadership that Russia's had for the last like 300 years. What's going on? People are completely expendable, and they're led by a bunch of sociopaths. So, you know, that's going to reflect it. Yeah. Crayon Green gifted memberships. Yas, Veronocum, Smurf Queef, Tony U, Connie C, all got memberships. Thank you so much there, Crayon Green. Matt Houston, great to see you. See that Wall's close family endorsed Trump today. Not his close family. That's his cousins through his grandfather's brother's side. So they're not close at all. I don't even know. Do I know anybody on that side, Monkey? That'd be like my grandfather's brothers, kids. I don't even know if my grandfather have a brother. Was that Uncle Bob? Was that my dad on my mom's side? I don't think he had any kids anyway. I never met him because he died before I was born. So yeah, those are like distant cousins, great cousins, great cousins. I'm not sure what you call those. Shane E. Feds don't have 90% conviction rate for nothing. HW odds of no labs FDA approval this month. I'm gonna give it probably till around November. I'm gonna say before the end of the year. I'm gonna say November. That's where my gut is telling me right now. I don't think it'll be this month. First Day Productions, what will a lawsuit against Carl Icahn going to do to BBY Jimmy mergers if Carl is one of the players involved in Ryan Cohen? What lawsuit? Is there a lawsuit against Carl for what? Send me something. I'll read it, and otherwise I don't know. I mean, I'm sure that Carl's one of those guys that gets sued all the time. So divorce is Wall's family, not close family. They're an opportunistic parasites who are grifting their way into politics. Oh, the people with endorsing Trump. I mean, what Midwestern dude doesn't have like a weirdo MAGA brother? Every family's got one. I mean, it's different than like Robert F. Kennedy Jr., right? RFK Jr.'s entire immediate family. We're talking like children, brothers, sisters, parents, like they all are like, this dude's insane. We want nothing to do with him. Or Gosar, Paul Gosar, who's a member of the House. His 5 siblings all recorded commercials against him for his opponent, basically saying that our brother is a psychopath that should not be trusted in any way, shape, or form. He's evil. We cut him out of the family because of the crimes he committed against us. We want nothing to do with him. It's different than like, I don't like his politics. It's much more like, it's on a personal level that these folks who know him best are like, you can't trust him. That's different than like distant cousins you've got no connection to. You may have never even met in your life before. Being like, we're voting for the other guy. Okay, that's cool. Lucas B, I can't believe IEP is at $12. Wish I had the funds to buy a bunch of it. Yeah, Monkey. Don't you? Don't you? Oh my gosh. Matt, it's not a bad gun. It's a bad gun owner. If you'd lock up your damn guns and keep the keys away from your kids, wouldn't have this issue. Bingo. That's that simple, Matt. Store your weapons properly. Again, 600,000 guns a year are stolen from their legal owners. 600,000. That's a lot. And every single one of those guns, once it's stolen, is now a gun that belongs to a criminal. Don't keep it in your glove box. Don't keep it in the drawer next to your bed. Like, don't keep it on a gun rack in your rear window in your truck. Lock that shit up. It's not that hard. It's pretty easy to do. Shane E, another rerun of The Onion. No way to prevent this, says Nation. It says only Nation where this regularly happens. Exactly. They've done that headline so many hundreds of times. I saw somebody made a poster the times that The Onion had made that headline. It's ridiculous. And emotes, happy birthday, Houston. You popped bubbly 6 months ago for BBY. Do you think that was too soon? Or are you still happy you popped the Martinellis? I'm still happy you popped the Martinellis. I'm just waiting for round 2 pop, which has taken months, almost a year longer than I thought it was going to be. I was ready to pop it for GameStop, but GameStop just, tripped all of us by diluting twice. The monkey butt is staring at me so hard. We'll do one of these ones. We'll do one of these green ones. That's right, monkey. You can stop staring at me now and just take one of these guys and be on your way. That's the catnip. The cat already got high earlier. Now I need to get him more high. Okay. Oh, did you find some down there? Is that where you're... that you're going for? Okay. Since 54, Elon Musk is a national security risk and should be treated as a foreign agent. Eminent domain, all of his shit except for Tesla. It's all taxpayer funded anyways. I do think that Elon should have his security clearance taken. He should. He was promoting Tenet Media like crazy on his platform. That kind of suggests that perhaps he might be in on it, right? He's been busted spouting, saying he had a private phone call with Putin and then denying it. Spouting Russian talking points on like the Donbass and places in eastern Ukraine, which Medvedev last week drunkenly announced on Telegram that they took Donbass because that's where all the natural gas is. They basically were there to steal the natural gas from Ukraine so they couldn't become independently wealthy and have independent energy. So, like, Elon just, December of last year was like, we really should just give it to Russia because that's where all the natural gas and all the lithium is. So, oopsie. He's personally thwarted individual military operations by shutting off the internet when Ukrainians were about to like strike a ship or win a battle. He's a military contractor. You don't get to pick and choose a military contractor how your devices are used at that point. I think he's an existential threat to national security, and you just got to take a shit at that point. Seize his companies, nationalize them. Show that you're not going to put up with this crap anymore just because he's some rich guy. Rich guys do crap all the time. Put your foot down. Make him get in line. Seems like a no-brainer to me. Coffee Dozen Homer. I am happy that DRS is irrelevant after the 75 million, 45 million dilution. Silent Rob bullshit. I'm not sure what that one's about, but all right. Coffee Dozen Homer. Those Vivaldi police should be embarrassed to tell people where they work. Yes. And the whole thing stopped because it was a Border Patrol guy whose kid was in one of the classrooms who finally just got some Border Patrol buddies and busted in there and ended it. And the Uvalde police were outside like, oh, the entire time. Yeah. I don't think you should be able to take a job in law enforcement if that's going to be your reaction to when you're actually needed. We need better. We need better everywhere. Exclusive 605. I wouldn't want to raise high school kids in the U.S. They are not protected from predatory media, advertisers, guns, drugs, just nothing at all. It's really pathetic and sad. Kinda, yeah. I mean, we're just gonna perpetuate the problem over and over and make it worse as years go on. I don't know. Again, we should create society to make everyone's lives better, not to maximize profit and drive revenue. Just there needs to be, we need to do better. Kevin Lush, about insurance on a gun like a car? Exactly. There should be some sort of liability insurance, right? Your toddler grabs your gun and blows away your wife. Well, there should be some sort of insurance claim on that. Or if someone else gets hurt with the gun, it actually discharges, used in a crime, right? Like, just, we should do better. Kid Cadian. Houston, happy birthday. Got 99 problems with Jamie ain't one. Let's dance. Let's dance. Confidence Homer. Have a couple big insurance settlements and things would change. 64. My dog is chipped, registered, and vaccinated, required by law in my area, yet I can buy a gun at the Walmart parking lot from rando on Facebook. No ID, no question, just cash. Literally that easy. Yeah. And this is like if you had a title, right, that went along with it, and like, hey, this is the registration, and then you file it with the DMV or whatever, and you get stamped, and you get your new title and your registration for it. Cool. All right, yeah, it's a pain in the butt. But you know what? If you're a member of the militia, and the head of the militia, which is outlined in Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution, Clause 16, tells you that this is the rules of the militia, because we want a regulated militia, an organized militia, not just, haphazard yeehaw Yosemite Sam types running around. It makes sense to me. I think you kind of do what the Japanese do, which is if you use a gun in a crime, you probably never heard from again. You make it so people don't want to use guns to commit crimes. That if they're going to do an armed stick up, gone. You just disappear forever at that point. You can do a stick up with someone, do it with your fisticuffs or something. I don't know. But there needs to be some if you're using a gun's unregistered. Okay, we make a registration law. You pass the grandfather clause. Your gun needs to be licensed, registered, and insured, and all that stuff. Then you're found in possession of an unregistered, unlicensed one. 25 years. I don't know, like an example setting type thing, so that people, they start to actually take this gun safety seriously. I don't know if it'd be 25 years, but something needs to happen to cut down on the number of kids that were just getting blown away every year in school. It's you're gonna buy 25 automatic weapons, you better own like a private military contractor or something. Do the dance of the scroller wheel, Houston. Dance. Pat Buchanan sucked. When did he die? He died not too long ago, right? Pat Buchanan. Is he still alive? Born. I guess he is still alive. He's 85? I thought he died. Huh. What do you know? Pat Buchanan's still alive. How about that? Interesting. Antonio Baez, I don't think we have to live with it. Houston, you appear to be resigned to maintain status quo, especially given your social media presence. Well, I mean, no one's doing anything about it. It's just no one's doing anything about it. We're given every opportunity to do something about it, and every year nothing gets done. We were showing some promise in the mid 90s with the Brady bill and the assault weapons ban, and it coincided with the fact we took lead out of our gasoline and like violence just fell off a cliff. That was wonderful. We just problem is that we put a timeline on that stuff, and rather than just make it in perpetuity, it all comes right back again. At least we don't have the lead in the gasoline anymore. Tony Baez once said Northgate was first mall. Tony Baez, oh my god, I was wrong. I think Bellevue Square was the first one. I think it was. So it was 46. But then again, you have like classic malls that are kind of a similar vein with like one alleyway that have like an atrium over them. So maybe those, I don't know. But Citizen 54, we are cattle to them. Current generation can't afford kids. Fuck it. Force them to have them. Ban abortion? I'm right. Am I right? The rules only change if their neck is on the line. Ours gets cut nonetheless. Kinda. I mean, one of the complaints is people aren't having enough kids anymore. Okay, well, they're saddled with debt. They can't afford to buy a house. Can't afford to buy a car. They expect them to go out and have, a birth that's going to cost $25,000. They can't afford insurance. They can't, the number of people who are just scraping by is such a huge portion of the United States. The average net worth of an American household is like $700,000, right? But you remove the top 1% from that, and the average net worth of the American household is like $90,000. It's pretty crazy. To get to a positive net worth, you're at almost the 30th percentile. So that means 30% of Americans have a negative net worth because that's how buried in debt they are. And from 30 to 50, you get the median net worth, and it's from the ridiculous. Maybe it's like 85,000 is median net worth. Median net worth USA. Okay, so this is... Oh, the average net worth of American families is 1.63 million now. So the average net worth is 1.63 million of the American family, but the median is 192,000. So, meaning that so much of that is like on the scale is like tilted towards filthy rich people over here at a million. And you basically go back logarithmically. So, yeah. Net worth of bottom 50%. The bottom 50% of households' net worth was $51,000 on average. So the average for all Americans is over $1 million. The bottom 50% is 51,000. And the median is 192. So to get your average to 1/4 of what the median is means everybody at the poor end of it is really, 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 really poor. That's dog shit is what that is. And probably most of that net worth is like in one Ford F-150 that's depreciating over time. Bung Magoo, September SQQQQ calls. $9.5 calls might go crazy for me. Crazy on you. Let's look at SQQQ. Options chain. Okay. So we're currently sitting at $9. And 26 cents for the weeklies. What about something for, say, like October monthlies? 79 cents for October monthlies. That's pretty good. What was SQQ peak at when we had our fart at the end of July? SQQQ price. So we had peaked at, oh, really only peaked at 11? 10, 11 bucks? Huh. Back in May, we were even higher. Well, they're going up right now. The UVXY, like the Pro Shares, the UVXY, and the VIXY, UVXY price. These ones had a lot more volatility in them. Yeah, these are the ones that spiked high. 67 bucks from a low of 2098. So July 12th, 2098, August 5th, $61, and then boom, right back down again. So the UVXY and the VIXY, VIXY price. These ones had a lot more spike to them. So the UVXY had a low July 12th of $10, peaked at 22, so it doubled, and then right back down again. So those ones had a bit more volatility than the SQQQ ones. But the SQQQ ones, if shit's the bed, yeah, they'll go up a couple of bucks. So you're good there. But if you're looking for the inverse volatility to really just the VIX related ones go a lot more. Stefan, Nazis are not cool. They're not. It's pretty easy. They're not cool. Says it before, we need to swiftly and very harshly deal with these foreign agents in our media, government, etc. Just today, an article came out about a New York governor assistant being a Chinese agent. What the actual fuck? Make an example. Yeah, so she was working in Cuomo's office and directing a lot of the COVID response, and managed to get members of the Chinese consulate heavily involved with the government while kicking out anybody related to Taiwan. She was still working in the current governor's office, and it was the current governor's office who turned her in, who were like, this chick's working for the Chinese government, arrest her, FBI. And the FBI was like, oh my goodness. And they arrested her. But yeah, she lasted quite a while working as a foreign agent inside the state government of New York. And yeah, we need to get through. We need to bust these people. And I have a feeling that, like, Matt Gaetz is named as Congressman 1, I think, in the Tenet Media thing, and people found out it was him because they, like, Congressman 1 got on the floor of the House and made this speech, and they quoted him, and then people just searched, and boom, there's Matt Gaetz giving the speech, basically saying that he was also getting paid by Russia. He's not indicted, but he's definitely under investigation for it. There's a lot of people in the government in elected government who have been paid a lot of money by Russians. Do you guys remember Maria Butina? She was the redhead honeypot from Russia who was basically boning like everybody in Congress. So this lady, she was working. I mean, she's not that hot, but whatever, you know. Float someone's boat. But she was working with the NRA. So Dmitry Firtash, he's a Russian mobster. He donated $80 million to the NRA. And then Maria Butina, working with the NRA, then illegally laundered that money into the campaigns of members of Congress, the Senate, Trump campaign 2016. And it all came unraveled. She got arrested as a Russian spy, charged, convicted, and then eventually sent back to Russia in a prisoner swap. Yeah, she now is a member of the government, as an elected official in Putin's party in Moscow. So yeah, she would go to all the gun shows. She would bone. She was having a sexual affair with the representative from South Dakota. I can't remember his name, but they were boning like crazy. There's a lot of folks that will be like, oh, $100,000, do what you want, and then you get stuck with compromat. You know, the Russian honeypot's like, I've got pictures of us having sex, and we'll tell your wife and your members of your constituency, and all of a sudden, you know, you find yourself doing more and more bidding for these folks. That's how it works. So the key is, if you are ever in a position where you're being propositioned by a Russian honeypot, you know, morally ambiguous, whatever, you go to your local FBI office. You leave your phone at home, put on, I don't know, Netflix on your phone or something, so that the Russians are following you. They're like, oh, they're still at home. You go to your local FBI office and you say, hey, local FBI, I just had a Russian honeypot try to entrap me with compromat so that I'll do her bidding. All of a sudden, you are now part of the investigation, right? So they might be like, all right, you know, young congressman, we need you to act like nothing wrong is happening and go back to the honeypot and get as much information as you can. So if your job is, if you know, like, you're getting sucked in by a hot Russian honeypot, and the FBI is like, hey man, you're gonna go act like nothing happened and keep on keeping on. Well, you're probably gonna get to bang the honeypot a few more times before the FBI finally swoops in and arrests him, and then you'll be like undercover informant and be like the high five stud of everybody in the Congress because you were responsible for getting a high level spy. Don't ever cave into the compromat, man. And if they're gonna make you do something, if they're gonna goad you into something illegal, just don't do the illegal thing, right? That's what Jeffrey Epstein did to everyone. He's like, hey, you want to have sex with some kids? And a whole bunch of millionaires and billionaires were like, heck yeah, brother. And he's like, I got photos of you with the kids. You got to do what I say. Pay me lots of money. And they're like, oh, fiddlesticks, right? So don't do the illegal things, man. Just don't do them. Whenever someone wants to make, like, if you're a millionaire or billionaire and someone like Epstein comes along and says, hey, you want to diddle some kids? The response should be, I don't have time right now, my guy. And then you go to the FBI and say, hey, this dude just tried to get me to diddle some kids. It's that simple. Like, be a good person in your life. Yeah. Okay. Julie's Miami. Bayesian super yacht victims were trapped alive when ship went down, died of dry drowning. Like they suffocated in their cabins because they ran out of oxygen. Whew. Yeah, the Bayesian super yacht is messed up. So it's a very fancy yacht, and it has a keel they can recess. So the keel, if you know anything about sailboats, I'm going to pick up a sailboat here. Sailboat keel. Okay, so sailboats, sailboat keel, come on. Give me my images. Sailboats have these keels, and they act like little blades that help them track through the water, but they're also full of lead. There's a big, giant, heavy weight at the bottom of the sailboat. And really, 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 really rich boats, really fancy boats, because, you know, if you have a deep draft, you can't get into shallow waters as easily. And if you're a 225-foot sailboat, because you're owned by billionaires, you have a keel that can pull back up inside the boat so you can go into these shallower waters, which you'll do under motor like you would like a power boat or anything. But the keel is there because the way a ship travels is the wind blows on it and it generates that force into forward motion. And if you don't have a heavy keel on a big boat, the wind just blows the boat over and you capsize, right? If you got a heavy keel, it's like one of those little boxing balloons with the sand on the bottom. It just pops right back up again. Apparently, they had pulled the keel up to go into a harbor, and then they forgot to put it back down again. So when the squall came through, and I think there may have been a water spout or something else that hit it, it just capsized the thing, and then all the crew was up top because the crew, that's what their job, they're crewing away, and all those people were down below probably puking their guts up, and then things flipped, sank, and they got trapped down there. Just gnarly. What a gnarly way to go. Yeah. And if you did manage to get out there, you got, 150 feet or something. You have to swim up. Probably not going to make it anyway. That's a long ways to go. ECB, BBBY timeline, 9/10 exit hearing, announcement of cash equity. I have no idea. Again, I would have thought this stuff would have happened like months and months and months ago. The last time we had exiting hearing, I think, was the 23rd, and they pushed it to the 10th. If we get close to the 10th, maybe they push it again. I don't know. Really, you just gotta do this and get some hobbies, because at this point, my brain's just gonna forget all about it, and then one day I'll be pleasantly surprised. It's just going on forever. Oh my gosh. Turkish, you sound like you're in a tube about to be filled with water. Me? I don't know. I can't hear myself of what I sound like. I like see a little line go back and forth. I swear I've had this cat hair in my mouth all night. There we go. Gone. Finally. Jason Blackwell. Do we have a hero zero date for BBBY? None that I know of. Matt, what would you rather be, a shit stain or a cum stain? I mean, for posterity purposes, if you want people to notice you, you'd be a shit stain. Because that stink lingers, gets on everything, it's much more visible. Whereas the cum stain just kind of evaporates and dries out, and people don't know it's there unless you turn on a black light. So, I don't know. You get more attention. Your life will be a shorter existence, though, if you're a shit stain, because they've got to clean you out with some, like, woolite or something. Geek Murphy, holy moly, happy birthday, Houston. Jason Blackwell, Houston shot out of a cannon. Sadboy Incorporated, Shane E. Unlikely No Labs still needs more data in the hyperglycemic and hypoglycemic ranges for type 2 diabetes and prediabetes populations. Do they? I thought they had nailed that stuff already. I think they got like 93% accurate. I'm going to go back and read. Matt, sorry, I asked the question. I mean, put everybody through that. Craig Green, I think people are throwing around Nazi deliberately. Seems to be a go-to insult, shutdown conversation. Just observation. I think it was up until the 2016 election, when a whole bunch of people came out of the woodwork and started being much more vocal across social media than they were previously. Previously, you'd see them, they'd go to their Stormfront website and stuff like that, and they would be there, but they'd get kicked off other platforms. They started to be much more vocal, and it's gotten much worse since Elon bought Twitter. Now he platforms them. He retweets them. He interacts with them. He drives traffic to them. They make money off of him by being blue checks under there. It's silly, is what it is. And there's a lot of them. I mean, seriously, just type Groyper into your Twitter search box and just see. You can scroll and scroll and scroll, and I bet you'd fall asleep before you got the end of the people with Groyper in either their name or their bio. There's a lot of them out there, man, and they're very active. And a lot of them are bots. I get that. They show up in our subreddit constantly. I mean, at this point, I'm spending about an hour a day just banning and deleting accounts and comments that come into the subreddit. It is bonkers. And, about 90% of them, you ban them, you don't hear from them. 90% of the 10% that are left will then respond to the mod account for banning them with something horrific and racist, sexist, homophobic, transphobic, pro-Hitler. It is, and then I report them to Reddit, and the Reddit deletes their account. I've got to go through, delete their accounts. You can see ones that are bots, ones that are just trolls, ones that are troll farm accounts working. They'll post weird pro-Russia stuff, and he's got to delete Sergey and Ivan and get them out of there. It's kind of exhausting. It's a lot of my day. The fact that I actually make it in to the Reddit now and spend that much time deleting comments and all the stuff that's been flagged has been keeping my Reddit streak at 100+ days now as a result, because I get so many notifications about this guy just posted something completely racist, and I got to go in and delete, and it's a lot of work. I wish there were better systems, because Reddit automatically turned on the harassment and abuse filter, which flagged and deleted all the comments or people responding to Nazis "fuck you, Nazi," and then so Twitter was automatically deleting those, but not the actual racist Nazi comment. So I got to go through, support the people who said "fuck you, Nazi," and then delete the actual Nazi. I see it a lot, and other people are I never see it at all. I mean, I do get in arguments and fights with them constantly, so maybe that's why they're more tracked to my social media. But there's a lot of them out there. Matt likes pineapple on pizza. Good job. Stefan, Carson Building in Georgetown. I don't know what that means. Should I just type in Carson Building? Carson Building, Georgetown. Corson Building. There's Corson Building. Oh, monitor, dead guy monitor, come on. Come on, Corson Building, come on, monitor. So Corson Building, Georgetown? The Corson Building. New American Restaurant. Corson Avenue, Seattle, Washington. So, is this we're talking about like Seattle's Georgetown, or are we like Washington D.C.'s Georgetown? Looks like there's a restaurant there. Looks pretty decent. Looks pretty tasty. Green. You know what? Let's try pineapple and hot dogs. Can't knock it till you try it. Why not? I'd do like little pineapple, like, you know, a Hawaiian burger, teriyaki sauce, and a pineapple on a burger. Brilliant. Absolute pure heaven. I do what I call a Polynesian marinade. It's pretty simple. It's a garlic, honey, soy sauce, and you saute it up till it's kind of, you know, caramelized, and then you can even add like a little bit of balsamic vinegar or balsamic vinaigrette to it. You can soup it up a little bit, and then you just soak a steak in that sucker for like 24 hours. Oh, it's so good. It's amazing. It takes, you know, no instant gratification. You gotta wait for that sucker to marinate. But yeah, you do that. A little bit of rice, some pineapple rounds grilled with it. It's fantastic. That was like my Friday night meal when I was in college in Hawaii. I just grab a pineapple out of the yard, get a steak, marinate that sucker Thursday night, and by Friday night, I'm eating it, and it's so good. Pacheco Ron, kick-ass poster, Houston. It's a good poster, isn't it? Pineapple quiche. I'd try it. Rosemoon Chalupa, I was wondering if meow yelling was you or me. Oh, yes. Angry little stone cat, you. Yeah. Oh, you're such a jiggle monster. I'm actually doing all right. For the rants I've gone on this evening, I'm actually doing all right. I'm only 37 minutes behind in the chat, so... Ryan H. You live in Oceania, and your gun chat at the start is bang on. Can't understand why the U.S. finds it so difficult. You had one horrible school shooting in Scotland, England cracked down. You had a horrible school shooting in Australia in, 1996? Australia cracked down, and you just haven't had any since then. It's not that hard. You can crack down. You don't hear about school shootings in Switzerland, right? The shootings that happen in other places, like school shootings that happen like in Germany, are usually with illegal stolen weapons from somewhere else. It seems like you can just kind of follow what other countries have managed, and you can still have, you know, your armed population, just arm the responsible ones. It seems like that simple. Ryan H. Shout out to Monkey Butt and Fat Cat. Pint size analyze. Russia is viewed as a conservative utopia. Have they seen the divorce rates? I find it funny that there's that Canadian farmer family who sold everything and moved to Russia, and then immediately got robbed of all their belongings and have no place to live, and are like begging to come back to Canada. The Canadian government's like, well. Dig the hole. Grouch Houston, happy birthday. Do you know anything? Mock Hoodle? What? A wooden club embedded with obsidian blades. Oh, it's from... is this the Native American one? Yeah, Aztec weapon. Okay, these things. Yeah. These are pretty cool. You take obsidian and you embed it in the wood, and then you can just like hack and slash people. It's like a rock sword, basically. Yeah. The obsidian tools that the Aztecs and the Mayans had were pretty sophisticated and super sharp. What's crazy is so the Hawaiian population, the Polynesian population, conquered huge chunks of the planet in the Pacific Ocean. They're basically, by area, like the largest empire on Earth. Bigger than the Mongols had, bigger than Alexander or the Romans, just by pure area of Earth's surface, because it's this connected chain of islands. And they were Stone Age people. They would get to places like the western shores of South America, and they'd find a bunch of Incans who had steel, and they got their asses kicked, and they would run away. They had some very impressive. Let's go to Google Earth. Oops, not that. I want to go that. So we're gonna leave the home where Houston lived when he was but a itty bitty baby, and we're going to go to the Big Island because we love going to the Big Island. So the Hawaiian people, Polynesian people in general, were Stone Age people. They didn't have access to metals because they had a bunch of basalts. And they didn't have access to obsidian because obsidian flows are come out of silica-rich lava flows that are continental rocks. These are the basaltic flows in Hawaii are largely silica poor, and you don't get obsidian. And so they would go up on Mauna Kea. So this is where the telescopes are on Mauna Kea. And this is Lake Waiau. This here is the highest alpine lake in the Americas. It's at 12,000, what are you? 13,041 feet. It's a little lake here. And along the trail that goes around this pu'u here, there's the Adze Quarry, which I think might be this. And then there's another little cave. Is this the cave? Nope, that's the cave. Nope. Where are you? Someone's going to have the cave in here. Nope, that's Lake Waiau again. Crap. Well, no one has a picture of the cave. But the Hawaiian artisans would come up here to 13,000 feet, and they would get a particular type of rock that was a rock that erupted under glaciers. So during glaciations, glaciers came all the way through here. So there's actual glacial moraines up here from when glaciers existed during iceball Earth days. And volcanoes would erupt under the glacier and form this really dense rock that didn't have a chance to outgas because it was under pressure from the glaciers themselves. And they made these things called adze. And are you this it? Maybe? Picture? This actually might be the Adze Quarry. It's very possible this might be the Adze Quarry. So you get this really dense rock and you chip it and shape it into like axe blades and things like that. And then those axe blades got transported all over the Hawaiian Islands to be used as tools to cut down trees and do things like that. Okay, so it was discovered not too long ago that there actually was obsidian in Hawaii. It was buried about a foot under the earth at Pu'uva'ova, which is this Pu'uva'ova? Yeah, so that's Pu'uva'ova. It's an old volcanic eruption and was for some reason really, 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 really silica rich. There we go. So Pu'uva'ova. It's just this nub that sticks up out of the desert and the eastern slope or western slope of the Big Island. And just under the dirt over here is a whole bunch of obsidian no one ever knew about. The Polynesians never knew about it. Hawaiians never knew about it. They were digging a road. I think it might have been the road they were digging here, and they came across it. So it actually was obsidian in this strange, weird rhyolitic eruption that happened that was full of silica, thousands of years ago. And it's just a weird volcanic eruption that's nothing like. You can even see from space that the mound itself looks nothing like any of the other rocks around it. Much more green. The Earth is easier to grow planets and stuff. You can see it from space. You see Pu'uva'ova right there. But yeah, they actually had obsidian, and they could make things if they wanted to, like the Aztecs did with those basically cricket paddles of death. Yeah, those things are cool. I wouldn't want to get hit with one. That would suck. Surgical incisions, man. Crayon Green, what are your thoughts on the WEF? I don't think it's good, but I don't think it's what everyone else claims it is. Like, my friends in Switzerland live in Davos, where the WEF is every year. When I try to visit the week of the WEF because the mountains are empty. It's just us and some Russian trophy brides skiing around, and mistresses and stuff. I think Klaus Schwab, he's got this grand idea in his brain that, hey, will use our wealth and power to make the world a better place. I think that's what he's thinking he's doing. And everyone else goes because it's a networking event. We get to meet other powerful billionaires. And sometimes it's the only time throughout the year you get to shake hands with these people and do deals and learn information from them. But it's all under the guise of, hey, we're going to like clean up the environment and help people or whatever. And all the billionaires are like, yeah, totally. But then they don't do that. They just fuck mistresses and meet other billionaires and discuss plans of how to take over the world. The WEF as being seen as this like coherent organization that's going to change and revolutionize the world and like you're going to own nothing and be happy is a total pipe dream. Klaus Schwab is really good at getting everyone together. They party for a week and then they leave. Almost nothing Schwab has done since 1971 when he started WEF has actually become law anywhere. They're very bad at that. I think it's all lip service as an excuse to just get these billionaires together so they can network with each other, and that's it. That's all there is to it. I don't think there's anyone in the billionaire circle who takes any of it seriously. I think they're just there to have sex with mistresses, meet up with like spy handlers, and network with fellow billionaires, and that's about it. Yeah. Well, Saunders, hi pal, 4:20 a.m. nighttime feed for the baby. Yay. Go Oakley Houston, keep me company. Did I just... Okay, here we go. There's falafel left. Wife eating falafel? Well, falafel's delicious. Stalker, Houston. I think you should run for office, start local, and soar. I may someday. I've run before. Well, twice. I once ran for city council, but I ran for city council when I was 20, and it was largely because a horrible man who abused my friend for years, and when I was in high school, I'd caught sexually assaulting an unconscious girl, was running for office. I was like, absolutely not. This guy cannot run unopposed. And then somebody else jumped in the race because they also had horrible runs with him, and so I dropped out and endorsed that guy. That dude ended up the good guy ended up winning, and the bad guy ended up losing. I ran again. So I threw my hat in the ring because the person who was our state senator retired, and the state rep moved up to the state senator's position, and the state rep's position was open. So I threw my hat in the ring, and it wasn't a race. It was basically you have a debate in front of all the precinct committee officers for the Democratic Party, and they vote on who gets to win. I went to the debate. There's like 6 of us who were running. I won the debate. I absolutely demolished everyone in the field. The problem was I joined last minute, so I didn't have the heads up that this whole retirement thing was happening. And the guy who won, Drew Hansen, he was like baking cookies and going door to door and meeting with everyone and getting their votes ahead of time. And he did the whole politicking thing, and he won. He's been a very, very effective representative. He's the guy who got college-made tuition free in Washington. So if you're a resident and you're below like $100,000 a year income, you go to community college, University of Washington, Eastern Washington University, Central Washington, Washington State, you name it. You don't pay tuition. You go for free. It's fantastic. He's also the one who got the net neutrality bill passed in Washington when the Trump administration and what's that dickbag at the FCC's name, Kash Patel, were like destroying net neutrality. He got the net neutrality bill passed. So if I'm going to lose to someone, it might as well be a guy who's really effective at making good legislation. So, but yeah, I've not run since then. I've been asked to run for city council again. The city council in Bainbridge is such a traumatic nightmare. So, we'll see. Maybe someday. Okay, I'm gonna do a couple more, and then gonna massage my shoulder. My shoulder is killing me. What are we looking here? Pint size analyzed. Joe Biden had a negative net worth in the Senate. Did he? I mean, he had a house. I know that. He made most of his money off of his book sales and then speaking engagements after his vice presidency. That seems to be where he got most of it from. That's you know, if you have been president or vice president, you you get your pension. It's a couple $100,000 a year, probably not too shabby. But then you go talk in front of like industry groups and banks and stuff, and they give you like $500,000 to make a speech, and that's how people at the Clintons got to be worth like $100 million. You give 200 speeches between the two of you over the course of 10 years, and you're rich. So. Sincere 206, any update on MMTLP, or should we consider that money gone for good? I think MMTLP is the same way. It's just we gotta wait for them to file their S1 for whatever they're gonna do with their spin-off corporation. I think they still have one more 10K coming they have to file. Seagill UVXY jumped due to a reverse split a few months ago. It jumped to its current level. It'd been down to like $5 and got pumped up to like 20. But in August, when we had the big market crash, flash crash, we want to call it, from the yen carry trades, that's when UVXY and VIXY both had their big bumps. Double Trouble Houston, can you look up US LBM? Never heard of them. US LBM, copy. Bing, jam, jam. Try that. I don't see. I've got US LBM Holdings. They're talking about this. What's happening here? These guys. US LBM Holdings. Well, I got. This means nothing to me. I see net sales, Wrap Technologies, Global Public Safety Technology. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't have anything substantive popping up. US LBM, upsized buyout bond price. It's from 2020. US LBM promotes Young Nam to vice president. Bain Capital considering $7 billion sale in US LBM stake. I don't know. I have no idea what they are, who they are, if they're even traded anymore. Not a clue. Not one clue as to what they do or what they are. I'll need a little more guidance as to where to go. Euro Trip French Toast. Can you unblock Gravis? Who's Gravis? I don't know who Gravis. I can try. Look at it. Whoever they are, I will look. MS loves a shirt. This is a good shirt. This shirt is a safari shirt. It's got pockets up here, and it's got pockets down here. And I can put my rank up here if I need to. Everyone needs to know what kind of officer I am. I can put the brass on the shoulders there. Eric and Till. Sounds like the Department of Justice is going after free speech again. Trump, Kennedy, Gabbard, Musk, Ramaswamy, Vance, 2024. No. I mean, there's speech, and then there's acting as an unregistered foreign agent, which is against the law. And that's what the Tenet Media was doing, is they were acting as an agent of a foreign interest. And they did not register with the government to be like, hey, we're going to be speaking on behalf of foreign interests. That's against the law. That is basically being a willing spy for money at that point. You were compromised. I wouldn't doubt if Tulsi Gabbard goes to prison for something similar. The amount of money she took from Russian oligarchs, from the Sang RSS in India, from the Syrians, Bashar al-Assad linked Syrians. She might be in real deep shit at some point. So yeah, you might want to look up where Tulsi Gabbard got a lot of her funding from, because it's from very hostile foreign forces. She's a bad person. Ramaswamy is just a con man, and Kennedy is also a con man. Kennedy's got a brainworm in his head. He does weird things with animals. He raped his babysitter, and then people were like, "Hey, man, turns out I raped his babysitter." He's like, "Oh yeah, kind of forgot about that." These people are not people to be revered and put up on pedestals. They're awful. They're terrible people. They're just bad people in general. Like, don't support bad people. Support good people. Try that. It's pretty phenomenal. Like, Anthony Weiner, he was a very effective politician. He was up and coming. He was moving through the ranks. He was saying and doing the right things. And it turned out that he was a piece of trash, trying to cheat on his wife with underage girls, right? Sending him wiener pics and stuff like that. Hence his real name, Anthony Weiner. And the response from the Democrats was, "Hey, get the hell out of here." They kicked him out. They charged him. He was arrested. Done, gone. You're not a part of this party anymore. You got people like Matt Gaetz, who's now linked to this deal with Tenet Media. We have evidence that he was having sex with underage girls through a pimp friend of his and paying them via like Venmo, because his Venmo transactions were public, right? So this guy is diddling kids, connected to Russia, and what's the response of the Republicans? Nothing. He still has all his leadership positions, right? He's still allowed to go around, and they still invite him on to Fox News to talk about stuff. The guy diddles kids, and the Republicans do nothing about it. That's the difference, is that when one side finds a really shitty person, they do something about it. And when the other side finds a shitty person, they go, "Oh well." And then they let them continue their life the way it is. Don't support the shitty people. Just don't. Just be better than that. There are better people out there. Yeah. Eric Antill, college don't mean shit. I'm sure you think that. I'm sure you, in your infinite wisdom and infinite knowledge, think that Tucker is the man and not a giant white supremacist douchebag from the Swanson fast food microwave meal fortune. There's a reason why Stormfront talked about in 2019 that they would use Tucker Carlson's show as guidance of how to operate their own white supremacist organization. Like, it's we can find that right now. Let's do Stormfront white supremacists Tucker Carlson. Okay. Great placement theory, far right elements, Tucker Carlson ouster. Come on. Great. Son of Stormfront founder tells CNN his family watches Tucker Carlson. Here we go. Yeah, 2019. There we go. How Son of Stormfront founder tells CNN his family watches Tucker Carlson for tips on white nationalist talking points. There you go. And at this time, remember, just what, a year later, 2 years later, Tucker Carlson's producer got outed as a active forum member on the Stormfront website, posting racist shit over and over and over again. So not only was Tucker hiring these people, they were designing and editorializing his shows for him. And boom, we have ourselves, the white nationalists themselves like, he's our guy. So yeah, Tucker Carlson can suck it. Suck it hard. He's a piece of shit. So no, he's not the man. He's a man, and barely one at that. Yeah. Okay. There we go. How about you end on that point? Suck it, Tucker Carlson. Your buddies in the media are all going to go to prison for being unregistered foreign agents, and probably you will too one of these days. All right. I'll see you guys. I don't know if I'll do a show tomorrow. I think I'm going to try and get a bunch of this stuff shipped tomorrow. And I'll probably see you Friday, unless like weird stuff happens tomorrow and I feel compelled to like do a show. Anyway, I will see you guys tomorrow, and you folks have a great night. Or no, sorry, see you folks Friday, and you guys have a great night and enjoy yourselves. And Nazis suck. Don't be friends with them. Moral of the story. So it's dark outside now, so that means we can jump some burgers.
Houston, we have a problem.
Okay, bye-bye.